The metal gates of Klong Prem slammed shut behind Daniel Pierce, and the echo shot through the prison yard like a warning. Inside the Bangkok Hilton, he was pushed forward by guards as dozens of inmates, packed shoulder to shoulder, stared at him with cold, tired eyes. The air was thick with heat, sweat, and fear. Moments later, Daniel's world flipped into chaos. An argument broke out between two inmates near the front of the line, and a guard rushed in, shouting for everyone to get back. But before Daniel could understand what was happening, another guard grabbed him and whispered urgently, "Stay still. Don't move. This is Klong Prem. One wrong step can decide your life." And then, just as Daniel tried to steady his breath, an inmate pointed directly at him and yelled something in Thai. The crowd suddenly shifted, eyes narrowing on him. The guard's grip tightened. That was the moment Daniel realized he wasn't just entering a prison. He was entering a world with its own rules. A world where he didn't belong, and where someone had already decided he was a target. And as the tension built toward a breaking point, Daniel felt the first spark of danger snap in the air, right before everything exploded into movement. But to understand how Daniel ended up in one of Asia's toughest prisons, we have to go back to where it all began. Daniel Pierce had arrived in Thailand 3 months earlier, a 26-year-old American backpacker with a simple plan: travel on a budget, make videos for his small YouTube channel, and see as much of Asia as he could before heading back home. He wasn't rich. He wasn't reckless. He was just chasing adventure the way many young travelers do. But Bangkok had a way of pulling curious people deeper than they expected. Daniel spent his days exploring markets, hanging out with other travelers, and visiting temples. One night, while staying at a cheap hostel in Bangkok, he met 2 other Americans, Mark and Jason, who had been in the country much longer than him. They were friendly, funny, and they knew the city better than most tourists. Slowly, Daniel started spending more time with them, and that was his mistake. One afternoon, while they were sitting at a street stall near Khao San Road, Mark leaned closer and whispered that he and Jason were working on a small job that would make them quick money. Daniel laughed, thinking it was a joke, until Mark slid a small black package across the table. Daniel pulled his hand away instantly, confused, but Mark brushed it off. "Relax," he said. "This is nothing. We just need help delivering it to someone. Easy cash. We've done it before." Daniel refused immediately. Mark nodded as if he understood, but after that day, things changed. Mark wasn't as friendly. Jason seemed distant. Daniel sensed tension growing, but he didn't know how dangerous the situation had become. Then came the morning everything fell apart. Daniel was leaving his guest house for breakfast when Thai police approached him. They searched his bag. He didn't understand what they expected to find, until they pulled out a package wrapped in black tape. The exact package he had refused to take. He froze, unable to speak. His heart pounded in his ears as officers surrounded him. He tried to explain, but no one listened. Within 20 minutes, he was in the back of a police truck. Within hours, he was photographed, fingerprinted, questioned, and told the charges. Drug smuggling. He was stunned, terrified, speechless. He begged them to check fingerprints. He begged them to believe he had been set up. But the officers only told him the same thing over and over. "You will explain in court." And that was how Daniel, confused, scared, and completely alone, was sent to Klong Prem Central Prison. The moment the gates closed behind him, reality hit with force. The noise, the heat, the smell, it was like walking into a world built to crush hope. Inmates were packed into cells meant for far fewer people. Everyone moved with caution. Everyone watched everyone else. Daniel was pushed toward his assigned cell, the one the guard called Room 6. Inside, over 40 men were squeezed onto a single concrete floor, each with just a tiny space to sleep. When Daniel stepped in, they lifted their heads, staring as if measuring him. He swallowed hard, and just as he was about to place his bag down, a tall inmate stepped forward, blocking his path. He pointed at Daniel's wristband, the one that marked him as a new arrival. Then the inmate said in slow, clear English, "Your nightmare starts here." Before Daniel could ask what he meant, the man took a threatening step closer. and the entire room shifted into tension as something dangerous began to unfold. The tall inmate's shadow stretched across the concrete floor as he stepped closer to Daniel, the room falling silent all around them. The other prisoners watched with sharp, tired eyes, waiting to see what the newcomer would do. Daniel's heart pounded so loudly he could barely hear anything else. The inmate leaned in, his breath warm and heavy, and whispered, "In Klong Prem, you earn your place or someone takes it from you." Before Daniel could speak, another inmate shouted something in Thai. The tension snapped, the tall man stepped back, and the room breathed again. But the message was clear: Daniel was not welcome, and he was not safe. Then, just as Daniel tried to move toward an empty space on the floor, two inmates grabbed the tall man and pulled him toward the far wall. Whatever was about to happen next wasn't meant for Daniel to see. What Daniel didn't know was that this was only the beginning, and before the night ended, something in that cell would happen that none of the guards would be able to stop. But to understand the danger building around him, we must go back to the moment he was processed inside the prison earlier that day. Daniel had been taken from the police truck into a long, dim hallway where fans barely moved the thick air. Guards shouted instructions he barely understood. He stood in line with other new arrivals, Thai citizens, Burmese workers, and a few foreigners with blank, shocked faces. Everyone looked lost. They shaved his head. They made him remove his clothes. They handed him rough brown shorts and a shirt that smelled like sweat and dust. He wasn't allowed to keep his shoes, only cheap plastic sandals. The loud clangs of metal doors slamming echoed through the halls as they moved them from room to room. Fingerprinting, wristband assignment, brief health check. A guard tapped his wristband and said, "Building 6. Big room. Many men. Be careful." Daniel didn't know what be careful meant inside a prison like this, but he would soon learn. After processing, they led Daniel and two other foreigners, both British, to the main yard. Every corner was crowded. Inmates carried buckets of water, washed clothes in tubs, or lined up for food from giant metal pots. Guards walked along the outer edges, watching more than walking. The British men tried to talk to Daniel. "You got caught with something?" one asked. "I didn't do anything," Daniel said quietly. The older British man nodded like he had heard that 100 times. "Nobody ever says they're guilty in here," he murmured, "even the ones who are." But he didn't say it to mock Daniel. He said it like a warning. They were separated soon after. Daniel was pushed toward room 6, the largest cell in the block. Inside, the air felt even heavier. 40 men, all sharing one bathroom at the back, a squat toilet with no door. Inmates did everything on the same floor: eat, sleep, talk, argue. No beds. No privacy. Daniel found a small corner where an older Thai inmate sat on a folded blanket. The man's face was tired but calm, unlike the others who had watched Daniel with suspicion. "You knew," the man said softly. Daniel nodded. "Stay quiet," the man continued. "No make trouble. Trouble comes fast here." He tapped the concrete floor beside him, offering Daniel space. It wasn't much, a thin strip of hard surface, but it felt like kindness. For a moment, Daniel almost relaxed. But trouble did come, faster than he imagined. As night fell, the air grew hotter. The room felt smaller. Inmates argued in low voices. Someone across the room whispered about cigarettes. Someone else grumbled about food. The guards outside walked past only once every hour. And then, without warning, the tall inmate who had confronted Daniel earlier stood up again. He pointed at Daniel. Everyone turned. He took one step forward, then another, until he was inches from Daniel's face. "You think you safe because you foreigner?" he growled. Daniel shook his head. "I'm not trying to cause any problems." The man's lips curled. Too late. The older Thai inmate beside Daniel slowly stood up, trying to calm the situation. But the tall man shoved him aside. The room erupted in shouts. Two inmates rushed forward to grab the tall man, but he threw one of them into the wall and charged straight at Daniel with his fist raised. And before Daniel could move, before he could react, before he could even breathe, the tall inmate lunged at him as the entire cell exploded into chaos. The tall inmate lunged at Daniel, but before the blow could land, 3 other prisoners crashed into him from the side. The entire room erupted in yelling, bodies shoving, guards banging on the metal door, shouting for everyone to get down. Daniel stumbled backward, hitting the wall as chaos filled every corner of the cell. Men tried to pull each other away, others tried to hide, and someone near the back yelled for the guards to hurry. The guards finally forced the door open and stormed inside, swinging batons, shouting commands in Thai. Everyone dropped to the floor. The tall inmate was grabbed by 2 guards and dragged out of the room while he shouted threats, his voice echoing through the hallway until the sound faded. Daniel sat frozen against the wall, breathing fast, his hands shaking. Everything inside him felt like it was spinning. He had been in Klong Prem less than 1 day, and already someone had tried to start a fight with him. But this was far from the end. Once the cell quieted, the older Thai inmate, who had tried to protect Daniel earlier, leaned close and whispered, "That man, he hates foreigners. You must be careful. If guards didn't come, big trouble." Daniel nodded, unable to say anything. Later that night, after the guards locked the door again, the cell settled into a low, tired silence. The heat pressed down on everyone like a blanket. Some men slept. Some whispered quietly. Some simply stared at nothing. The older Thai inmate gave Daniel half of his folded blanket. It was thin and rough, but it was all he had. Daniel thanked him softly. Hours passed. Daniel barely slept. Every small sound made him tense. Every movement reminded him that he was trapped with dozens of men, many of whom had already decided they didn't like him. He missed home. He missed his mother. He wished anyone could help him. But help wasn't coming. At dawn, the guards kicked the doors open and shouted for everyone to line up. They marched the inmates into the yard for morning roll call. The sun was already hot, burning the concrete under their feet. After roll call, they were taken to breakfast, a metal bowl of watery rice soup. Daniel ate slowly. The food tasted strange, but he was hungry. As he sat alone, staring into the bowl, someone tapped his shoulder. He turned, and his stomach dropped. It was a foreigner, American, around 30, strong build, shaved head, hard eyes. "You're the new one," the man said. Daniel nodded nervously. "Name's Eric," the man said. "I've been here 5 years." Daniel's voice cracked. "Why are you talking to me?" Eric smirked. "Because you're in trouble, and you don't know it yet." Daniel swallowed. "That man from last night." "Not him," Eric interrupted. "He's just loud. The real problem is something else." Daniel felt a chill. "What do you mean?" Eric looked around to make sure no guards were listening. Then he leaned in and spoke quietly. "You were set up, right? Someone planted something in your bag." Daniel's eyes widened. "How did you know?" Eric's voice lowered even more. "It happens a lot. But in your case, someone inside this prison knows who put that package in your bag. And that person? He wants to talk to you." Daniel froze. "Who?" Eric straightened up and nodded toward the far corner of the yard. Daniel followed his gaze and saw a man sitting alone under a tree, head lowered, hands resting calmly on his knees. He didn't look dangerous. He didn't even look interested in anything around him. But the guards kept glancing at him like he mattered, like he had power. "That's the guy," Eric said. "They call him Miller. American. He knows things. And he told me to bring you to him." Daniel's heart thudded. "Why would he want to talk to me?" Eric shrugged. "Don't know. But when Miller asked to see someone, you go." Daniel didn't know what to think. Should he trust Eric? Should he refuse? Should he avoid Miller completely? Before he could decide, Eric grabbed Daniel's arm. "Come on," he said. "He's waiting." They walked across the yard, every step making Daniel more nervous. When they got close, Miller finally lifted his head. His eyes were cold, sharp, knowing. Then, in a calm voice that somehow felt even more dangerous than shouting, Miller said, "Daniel Pierce, I know exactly who set you up, and I know why." Daniel's breath caught. Miller leaned forward, his voice dropping to a whisper. "But if you want to survive in here, you need to hear the rest. And what I'm about to tell you will change everything." And just as Miller opened his mouth to reveal the truth, The warning siren suddenly blared across the yard, and every inmate turned as guards started sprinting toward the far gate.